All right, thank you, Jackie. Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to bring you another informative webinar by the Office of Technology Commercialization. And I want to begin by giving you some background on the organizations that collaborate with LaunchBlue. So first, there's OTC. And our mission is to advance innovation that matters, that comes from across the University of Kentucky campus. And our team brings expertise to a process that is set up to protect, license, and commercialize UK technologies. We also manage income and royalty payments from licensed technologies, aftermarket licensing compliance, and IETIS and reporting. And lastly, we are the university's signatory on all material transfer agreements, confidential disclosure agreements, and data use agreements. And so if you are working on any of those types of agreements, make sure that you are connected with our contracts team to get those signed off on and in process. So OTC is one of 8 organizing partners of LaunchBlue. We provide staff that run all aspects of LaunchBlue. We also provide section leads and mentors that work with the UK innovators and startups that are in the Accelerator Program. And we provide funding support along with the Economic Development Administration, KY Innovation, and BASE here. So other participants in the LaunchBlue Kentucky program, or the other, is Kentucky Commercialization Ventures. So KCV is an organization that provides commercialization expertise to colleges and universities across the state who do not have tech transfer services on their campuses. OTC and KCV are connected in that OTC is one of the partners who led the development of this statewide collaboration that we call KCV. LaunchBlue Uxcel, which you're going to hear more about, is open to innovators at any KCV partner institution. And like OTC, KCV staff act as members for, or as mentors for the innovators and startups that are coming from those institutions. So with all that background, I'm sure you're ready to hear more about LaunchBlue itself. So we have none other than Laura Halligan. Laura is the executive director of LaunchBlue, and she brings a tremendous amount of experience in working with startup companies. Between her and Eric Hartman, they have designed the LaunchBlue Accelerator and Incubator programs that prepare innovators and startups to take that next right step in their entrepreneurial journey. So I would like to introduce to you Laura Halligan.
All right. Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate that introduction, and thank you all for joining us today. I'm looking forward to talking about the programming that we have available through LaunchBlue to support you. Before we begin, I just want to remind you that if you have any questions at any time during the webinar, please just pop those in the chat on Zoom. It should be down on your right-hand corner. Jackie Green, who is our wonderful producer on these webinars, will be monitoring that chat, and she can take note of those questions and ask those questions for you at the end of the presentation. All right, so let's start off today by talking about what LaunchBlue is. And LaunchBlue is a program focused on supporting Kentucky innovators and entrepreneurs who are looking to bring a new technology to market. Currently, we do this by providing 2 main program tracks. The University Technology Commercialization Program, known as UAccel, and our Precede Accelerator Program, both of which we will go over today. So we'll start with UAccel. This program is really meant to be a professional learning opportunity for innovators from institutions of higher learning from across the Commonwealth, and who have developed some sort of new technology and who would like to see that technology and product have an impact in the world outside of their lab or classroom. UAccel is agnostic. It's an agnostic program, meaning that we don't focus on one specific type of technology or industry sector. If you look on our website and you go to our portfolio page, you'll see that we've worked with many different types of technologies and innovators. They've all gone through this program. We've had everything from phone apps to vaccines, and all of them have been successfully able to apply what they've learned in the program to their technology. So some of the goals of UAccel, or the goal of UAccel, is to really work with each innovator individually to identify that best pathway to commercialization for their unique technology. Over the course of those 12 weeks that we spend together, innovators work to really validate the problem they're trying to solve and the solution they've created through talking to potential customers and potential partners outside of the university and within. And we work together to really understand what the regulatory pathway for this technology is going to be and determine what the funding needs are going to be and what options for funding are available for this project. By the end of the program, innovators should have developed a strategic plan for any grant applications that they have decided would be a fit for their technology. That could be SBIR, which I know is really popular here, and Eric is a great expert in that area. They should also be able to understand, the potential role of a startup in the commercialization process and the options available for direct licensing. And then participants should be able to understand and value strategic partnerships and hopefully have identified and maybe even made contact with some of those potential candidates with whom partnering would be really highly beneficial for their technology. And that's a big part of this program, working with our coaches and instructors to identify some of those people. So how does this program actually work? What does it look like when we're in session? Like I mentioned earlier, UAccel lasts for 12 weeks. Our upcoming cohort, which will take place this fall, will start on September 10th and will end on December 3rd. During the program, the UAccel cohort will meet online via Zoom every other Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. On weeks where we don't have the cohort meeting, innovators meet with the section leads for one-on-one coaching sessions. And that's really where they can identify unique challenges and start coming up with those specific strategic plans for each technology with the innovator. Participants are given access to an online learning platform. We use the Collider platform. And that's where they can review training videos. They can access helpful tools. It's a great place where people log their customer interview notes and get feedback from instructors and coaches throughout the program. And then we also use guided application exercises to really help innovators apply what they're learning in the cohort meetings and in the training material to their unique technology and get closer to that best pathway forward. The focus of the program is, again, to really validate the problem and the need in the market for the technology solution that these innovators have been working on, and also to discover who the customer for the product really is, what that sales process would be, again, regulatory and funding needs. Our OTC and KCV section leads collaborate with our innovators throughout the program and even beyond. Many of them are people you've probably met before or know. And even after the program is over, a lot of our technology innovators continue to meet with our section leads and get that coaching and one-on-one attention. Again, we understand that funding is going to be necessary for developing these technologies, and we work with these innovators to kind of prepare them to be successful in future SBIR and STTR grant applications, as well as understand the potential role of venture investment in bringing their technology product to market going forward. All right, so who's a candidate for UAccel? Well, first, applicants should be a primary or the primary inventor on the technology that they're hoping to go through the program with. They should also have submitted an invention disclosure form through the appropriate office. If you're affiliated with UK, then that disclosure needs to come to us here at the Office of Technology Commercialization. And if you're affiliated with a KCV partner institution, then you would work with the KCV office to disclose. And that would probably be Megan or Kayla or Monique, and someone in that office could help you with that process. Secondly, we're really looking for innovators who are dedicated to finding a path to commercialization, and they're really passionate about seeing their invention, their technology, have an impact outside the lab and outside the classroom. It can be a long process. It can be complicated, researching and finding this best way forward. So we're really looking for people who are passionate about the success of this project, and also and getting their technology into the hands of the people who need it and can make the most use of it. And finally, applicants really should be fully committed to engage with the program and have the time to do so, and to really make time in their schedule to work with the instructors and coaches to complete the materials that are assigned and do the customer discovery. We estimate that innovators spend around 7 hours a week on Uxcel, just to give you an estimate as you're thinking going forward into the fall, if that will fit into your schedule. And that should include cohort meetings, coaching sessions, working through those application exercises, doing customer discovery interviews. So 7 hours a week may not sound like a lot. For some people it is. That's really an estimate. And that's just something we wanted to be upfront about so you can prepare in advance. All right, so how does the application process actually work? The online application for the upcoming fall cohort of Uxcel will open on August 6th. Or open on July 5th. Sorry, the deadline is August 6th to submit. And the online application, it's only about 15 questions long. We do request a CV for each of the innovators on the team who are planning to participate. That kind of gives us an idea of what their backgrounds are and kind of what their role on the team is during the program and going forward. And then after the application closes, we take around a week to review all of the applications we've received, and you could expect to hear back about whether you've been selected for the second round by around August 12th. So we try to have a pretty quick turnaround so you can plan ahead. If you are selected, we ask that each person complete what's known as a value proposition canvas around the technology. It's a very simple exercise, kind of determining what value your product brings and to whom. We send all the materials for that, and we work through that assignment, and then that's what you bring into your interview with the selection committee to present to them. And those interviews, we're looking at the week of August 16th for that. We are still working with our selection committee around their vacation plans to determine the exact day. That will be posted before the application goes live on July 5th. But you can plan for that interview to take place sometime that week. All right, and as Tanya mentioned, we have great section leads and coaches and mentors from both the Office of Technology Commercialization here at UK and our partners at KCV. If you're selected for the program, you're assigned a section based on your industry and your type of technology. And you'll work with your section lead throughout the program. They will be there to assist you, to guide you, coach and mentor you, help you problem solve. Currently, our wonderful leads are people you may have already met. Maybe you know some of them. We have Raja Krishnan, Emmanuel Smith, Liz Knapp, Megan Anastus, and Kayla Meisner. And we are looking at adding a fourth section lead going into the fall. All of them have been amazing to work with. Listening to the folks who have completed our recent cohort and getting their feedback on the program, they just couldn't say enough nice things about our section leads, how helpful they've been, and also their excitement at continuing to work with them going forward along, to successfully execute the plan that they created and to commercialize their technology. So we're really lucky to have them, and excited to hopefully have the opportunity to work with you guys. All right, so let's move on to our Precede Accelerator Program. This program is focused on Kentucky-based entrepreneurs who want to develop their tech startup into a highly scalable and profitable business. The term Precede, just because I know some of these terms might be new, Precede really refers to the stage before you've raised a seed round or an angel round of investing. So it's in those really early stages where institutional investors and sophisticated investors may not yet be ready to invest. And so we our program is designed to fit in there and really work with entrepreneurs to get them ready to be a candidate for that type of investment. Like our UAccel program, the Precede Accelerator is also agnostic, meaning we do not focus on one specific type of technology or industry sector. And again, if you go to the portfolio on our website, you'll see that we've worked with a lot of different kinds of Kentucky-based startups and continue to do so. So that's something that is really beneficial. And again, I know the term accelerator and what an accelerator program is might be new to some of you. So before we get into any more detail, I know this term gets thrown around a lot, so I'll just quickly define what an accelerator program is and what the purpose of that kind of program is. So accelerators are really meant to accelerate the growth of a startup. It's like a deep learning focused sprint over that time that you spend in an accelerator program, really heavily focusing on refining the business and working out any specific key problem areas and accelerating the growth of a business. There are many different types of accelerators out there, and they can focus on different startup stages. Like we focus in pre-seed, so early stage startups. Other startups focus at the seed stage or even beyond. But overall, they might even focus on industry sectors. So they might be specific to an industry. Not all accelerator programs are agnostic. Again, some of the key features that accelerators should have or do have is that the program has a fixed timeline. It might be 10 weeks, it might be 12 weeks or whatever, but they run for a defined amount of time. They usually run in cohorts, so a limited group size of startups is included in each iteration of the program. So for Launch Blue, we have a maximum number of 6 startups which are accepted per cohort. And that's really because we work with you one-on-one very intensely over those 12 weeks. And so in order to be able to give the time and attention that is required and really needed, we limit our cohorts to 6 people or 6 startups per cohort. So they also usually accelerators include some type of mentorship and coaching and have an educational or training component. And usually they have a culminating pitch event or demo day, as they are usually called. So that's usually what you can expect from any type of accelerator that you are looking at. Our accelerator program is designed to train early stage tech founders in lean startup practices and to really help them focus and develop a scalable, repeatable business model. That's really important to investors, to make sure that this business is going to be successful, that it can earn revenue year after year. It has a good plan and method for doing that, so they can recognize the return on their investment. And so working at the stage that we do, we really focus in on making sure that the business model that these startups are implementing and are using for their business is the right one that can help them be attractive candidates for investment. Our aim is that participating startups will, again, be potential to raise money, but also one of our goals is for our startups to be competitive for national seed stage accelerator programs, programs like Techstars, Y Combinator, Generator. There are many of them out there, but one of the benefits to having us kind of help you and guide you is we kind of find out what accelerators are out there and which ones would be a really good fit for your startup. The reason that we want to graduate companies to a seed stage accelerator is usually those are industry specific. They usually come with a capital investment and a wide network of mentors and investors who would be a great benefit to the startup. And so that's one of those key outcomes we really look to graduate our companies into those competitive national programs. Again, we also work with our startups one-on-one to identify other potential opportunities, funding opportunities, and then next steps for continue to grow and scale their startup. Our accelerator program is 12 weeks long, with our next cohort coming up in the fall. It will start on September 8th and end on December 1st. The program includes weekly cohort meetings, which take place online via Zoom. We usually have those meetings on Wednesday afternoons from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Participants are also given access to the same learning platform that I discussed for UAccel. We usually use the Glider platform, which is the same platform that is used by Stanford and by the I-Core program. It's a great platform and we find it very useful, and our startups find it very useful. Additionally, they also get that one-on-one coaching session every single week with our coaches and mentors. They have access to what's known as our advisor in residence program. So we have experts in fields like technology development, sales, marketing and branding, as well as even pitch coaching. And so we have access to a lot of people who want to help and focus in on helping these startups over these 12 weeks. And then also, of course, we have these key application learning exercises that companies do to apply what they're learning in the cohorts meetings and trainings to their unique startup, and get feedback and advice from coaches and mentors. All right. The focus of the Precede program includes, training startup founders in lead startup practices, using customer discovery to really focus on finding product market fit. Again, that's very important to investors going forward, as they want to make sure that this business has a good shot at being very successful and profitable. And so we work really hard to help create a plan where that's going to be the case. Working with founders, around their business model, training and advising them in key areas around the business and things such as in sales, marketing, and finance. And really, one of the things we focus on is creating a funding strategy and helping them think forward of how they're going to raise funding, when they're going to raise funding, and around what key milestones they need to raise around. And again, we've had companies who are more traditional and really depend on investment funding. And we also have companies who are SBIR companies. Our last cohort, 75% of our cohort members were actually SBIR companies who went through the program and who are now going on to start raising their seed round. And a lot of that is thanks to Eric Hartman, who specializes in that area. So the program is really open to people who are looking not only to raise investment funding, but maybe who combine that with SBIR or other grant funding. Candidates for the program need to be Kentucky-based. Currently, you can be from anywhere in the state, anywhere across the Commonwealth. We serve all 120 counties. Again, because we're a virtual program, that's what makes that possible, and which is why we chose this model. The startup should be focused on bringing a new technology product or enabled service to market. It should be in the early stages, so pre-Series A funding or really pre-seed funding. We're really trying to get you to be an attractive investment at that level, at that first really official investment round you're going to raise with angel investors. That's really where we kind of come in and just try to get you over that hump. Some of our companies have been pre-product, but many of the companies we've worked with have actually launched while they've been in the program, or maybe they have just launched before they applied and came into the program, and we're really helping them gain traction and scale. The ideal candidate really should be dedicated to fully participating in the program. It is an intense 12 weeks. In our Precede Accelerator program, there's a lot to consider and to do. And so before coming in, we encourage participants to really make that commitment and before they accept the invitation. The online application for the upcoming fall cohort of the Accelerator program is going to open on June 21st. So not next week, but just the week after that. And the deadline to submit that application is going to be on July 22nd. The first round is an online application that has about 10 questions. You only get about 500 words per question. We want you to be succinct and to be very clear and concise with your responses. We also request a resume for each of the active members of the team. And we also ask for a 1 to 2 minute elevator pitch video. And this is something that our selection committee really asked for. It's a good way for them to get a feeling of you as the founder and the innovator before deciding to bring you in for an interview. So make sure that if you do apply, you put extra attention and some creativity around that 1 minute, 2 minute elevator pitch video. It will take the selection committee about a week to review all of the applications and kind of make their selection for who they would like to bring in for an interview. But you could expect to hear back about whether you've been moved to round 2 by July 30th. If you are invited to the interview round, the selection committee has asked that each candidate raise $500 as part of the application process. It can be from sales, it could be from friends and family or supporters. We've had people who have gone out and won pitch competitions. But really what they want to see is that you aren't afraid to go out and raise money and raise support for your startup, and you're willing to go out there and make the ask, right? And if you raise the $500 and are admitted into the program, that $500 goes to cover the cost of participation. Currently, we are a non-equity seeking program, meaning we do not take equity for your participation. And so the $500 kind of goes to cover some of those costs. In the interview, you really do tell that story of how you went about raising the $500. We've had some really creative and fun stories from people who've come in and done neat things to raise that money. And those interviews, again, we are still working on pinpointing the exact day and time, but again, it should take place the week of August 16th. So you could expect to be notified soon after that date on whether you were accepted to the fall cohort. All right, so I've mentioned the selection committee several times, and I just want to be, for transparency, kind of talk about how that selection committee is determined. Our selection committees are appointed by the LaunchBlue Advisory Board. Our instructors and partners also are able to nominate candidates for a selection committee. They usually include members of the advisory board. We have external experts and investors who sit on the selection committees. They're really designed to include diverse backgrounds and perspectives, as well as have a mix of both startup and industry and academic expertise. So those final decisions are made by the selection committee, and we really utilize our partnerships and people in our ecosystem to make sure that we get a broad perspective and diverse backgrounds on those committees. If you have questions after today, or if you're just looking for some advice for your startup or technology, LaunchBlue offers a weekly virtual office hour, which takes place every Friday from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Like I said, we're very happy for you to come on, whether you're part of our program or not. If you just have a question about your startup or about how to commercialize your technology, we're always there to help you and to answer any questions or about our programs or anything, or to even help you with your application if you're applying. So that's, again, if you do come on, you'll have the opportunity to meet our team. So I am usually there. Eric is usually always there. Aaron and Kenzie. And then many times, many of our section leads also join office hours, and you get the opportunity to meet them and get some support and interface with them as well. So we're really lucky to have so many people who are available to you during this time just to support you, to answer questions and be a resource for you. Like I said, we are a virtual program, obviously, so we can support many people around the state. But we do have a physical location. We are physically located at Base 110, which is part of the Base Here co-working spaces. So we're located in downtown Lexington. And if you're ever in town and you're looking for a place to co-work, it's a great space, and we'd be happy to see you there if you ever wanted to drop by. And the last thing I want to end on here is Demo Day. So we have our upcoming, that pitch event that most accelerator programs end with. We have one big one every year. This will be our first one coming up on July 15th. And it would be a great opportunity for you to kind of see some of the other companies and technologies we've worked with in the past and who are come through our program and kind of see what they've been able to accomplish. It'll be a virtual demo day, and you can learn more about it on our website. And hopefully you can come on and hear them pitch and cheer them on as well. So with that, I want to thank you for joining us today. I know that was a lot of information, but again, all of that information can be found on our website, and I'm happy to take questions now and help you however I can.
Thank you, Laura, so much for all that wonderful information. Just for the audience, if you have questions, you can put those in chat either directly to me, Jackie Green, or to everyone. And I do have a few questions. So we'll start with the first one. What could I expect to learn by participating in UAccel?
Right. So I think, again, what we are really focusing on here is finding the best path forward for this technology. How can we get it to market? What's the best pathway forward? Is that through a startup? Is it direct licensing? Who would be interested in partnering on this technology in the corporate or academic world? And also just kind of learning about how to validate whether the technology that you're developing is something that really has a demand in the marketplace. Is there someone who wants to buy this product from you? That's a short answer.
Okay, great. How would UAccel help me to prepare for an SBIR application?
Right. So again, I might even turn this over to Eric. I'll give a quick crack at it, Eric, and then turn it over to you. One of the parts of submitting an SBIR grant application is talking about how this having a plan for commercialization, not just to fulfill the proposal that you're applying for, right? but also to the wider market outside of government procurement. And so that's something that we can really help you with. But I'll let Eric talk in more detail about that, as that is his area of expertise.
All right, thanks, Laura. I'll be happy to take a quick crack at that. So one of the things that we really want to do is make sure that SBIR funding is used to the greatest impact that it can to advance the technology and advance the company. So we don't want to just be interested in getting an SBIR. We want to be using that SBIR to move the company and move the technology forward. So with the UAccel program, we're positioning you to understand, what does that commercialization process look like, and how can SBIR funding really be best utilized to move that technology forward and position the company for later stage accelerators, for it to be interested by investors, to get follow-on SBIR. So you get your phase one, how do you compete for phase two? How do you compete for post phase two? There are, other grant applications, and then bringing in industry partners and other people that can help to co-develop that technology with you and position that technology to be ready at the end of an SBIR path to move directly into a viable commercialization pathway. So those are some of the things that we would focus on. And again, UAccel is the very earliest steps in that. But what we're trying to do is just kind of start that process, start those conversations, and start that to build those understandings.
Thank you both, Laura and Eric. We have a question about demo day.
Yep.
Is the demo day open to the public if we wanted to observe? I quickly searched, and the registration page I found requires me to be an investor to sign up.
Right. Yes. So we will be live streaming it. Like I said, this is a virtual demo day. So we'll be live streaming it through the website, and it will be on July 15th at 10 a.m. And that is open to the public. Anyone can watch. What's really only open to accredited investors is the opportunity to meet with the companies and find out more about their terms of investment.
Great. Thanks, Laura. We have another question. How much in funding can startups anticipate from the Precede program?
So we do not make a capital investment at this time. We're non-equity seeking. We don't take equity, and we do not make an investment currently.
What if we have to miss a meeting or two due to work-related travel commitments? I'm referring to the UAccel program.
So we would ask, if possible, that another member of the team also be there. I mean, hopefully, if it's just you, we understand. We definitely record the meetings and can send those out. We try to ask that people limit the amount of time that they miss, or make sure that their other teammate is there and is participating and taking advantage of the feedback and coaching and content.
Great. Can the program be completed while working full-time, a quote-unquote day job?
Which one, UAccel or Precede Accelerator, or both?
They did not specify.
All right. Technically, UAccel, of course, is designed for people who are full-time at their university. So yes, that's why we do the biweekly schedule, is because you understand that usually if you're working at a university, you might be teaching. You also have a research lab, possibly. Maybe you're a doctor. Maybe you're a full-time staff member, whatever that might be. That's why it's kind of stretched out, and we meet biweekly on that schedule in order to facilitate and support you despite your packed schedule. For Precede Accelerator, we have had people who are working full-time. In our last cohort, everyone was already full-time on their startup, but we have had people in the past who were taking advantage and going through the program while still working on another job. I think the thing to keep in mind is, can you keep up with the program? It can be intense, but you can do it. Yes.
Great. We have another question. I am nervous about talking to industry about my technology. Can UAccel help me with that?
Yes, that's one of the things that we do early on is kind of start strategizing around who would be the best people to start talking to and do customer discovery. And also our offices are able to help with NDAs and anything else to help make people comfortable as far as intellectual property concerns go. And we also kind of help you strategize about what you're going to ask, how that conversation should go. and not only to protect the intellectual property, but also to give you an idea of how to do those conversations and get the best information out of that and make sure they're valuable. So we go through and we do training on that. We work with you on that. So hopefully that won't be as intimidating as it seems right now.
Great. We have another great question about whether I should apply for UAccel if I don't want a startup.
You can still apply for Uxcel even if you aren't thinking that a startup is the path that you want to go. We can, there's still plenty of work to be done for that technology to find out who might be options for direct licensing or industry, which industry and which people within industry might be interested in licensing that technology. So you don't have to go through Uxcel if you're only interested in doing a startup.
Thank you, Laura. You talked about having teams with UAccel. What if I'm a UK team, but one of my collaborators is not part of UK? Can they still participate in the program?
Yes. In fact, in our last cohort, we had 2 innovators. One was from the University of Tennessee and one was from the University of Kentucky, and both of them were able to collaborate and take part in the program. But we just say one of the innovators needs to be either a member or under UK or a member of the KCV partnership institution.
Perfect. Thank you. Can you tell us whether or not coaching sessions are in person or are they also virtual?
The coaching sessions, they can be in person if you're here in Lexington and you want to do them in person. That's something you could work out with the section lead or with the person you're booking a coaching session with. But in general, they're via Zoom. That way it's just very convenient, and people who are participating from regional institutions or who have a startup out in one of the areas outside of Lexington can still make that meeting and not have it be a burden.
Fantastic. Question regarding the Precede $500 that you have to raise. Does LaunchBlue keep that, or does it go to cover the program?
It goes to cover the program. Like I said, we're non-equity seeking. So we don't take any piece of the company and we don't make any returns on any exits. So right now, how we kind of cover the participation in the program is through that $500 fee.
Great. We have another question. Does the fall cohort meet during Thanksgiving?
No. So yeah, if you're looking at both the UAccel program and the LBA program, you'll see that it's actually 13 weeks between the start date and finish date. That's because we do not meet over Thanksgiving. You guys get that time off and a well-deserved break.
Question about whether or not when you apply and do not get selected, can you still receive help with your technology?
Absolutely. Definitely through the Office of Technology Commercialization, we are always here to support you and to help you. Same with KCV. And even if you don't get selected, that doesn't mean that you can't reapply in the future to participate in the program, but you can always come to office hours as well. Like I said, LaunchBlue virtual office hours are every Friday. You don't have to be a member or be an active participant in any of the cohorts in order to receive advice and support through that time. So no, you can still receive assistance.
Great. And can you apply to both UAccel and the Accelerator programs?
So I think you could definitely apply, but I think they're both focused in different stages and are kind of unique for specific stages of where your technology or your startup is. So UAccel is really very early stage with your technology, and you wouldn't want to apply to LaunchBlue Accelerator because you maybe you don't have a startup yet. You're still working on your commercialization plan. You're still figuring things out on whether there's a demand for the technology. Maybe you're still working through IP and licensing. LBA is really for when you have a startup, maybe you've launched a product or are going to launch a product and know that you're seeking capital investment. So they're LBA is a little bit further along than you would be for UAccel, but we do have people who went through UAccel and they have later gone into the LaunchBlue Precede Accelerator once they determined that the startup route was the way they wanted to go. So it's usually you could start in UAccel and move to LBA, but if you were going to apply to both, UAccel is probably for technologies that are very, very early stage.
Great. Thank you so much, Laura. It looks like we have taken and answered all the questions that have been submitted. Would like to thank you, Laura, for doing this for us. And as Laura said, if you have questions later on, please feel free to join them on their virtual office hours on Fridays. And please look for a landing page coming up soon with the rest of the year OTC monthly webinars that you can register for. And we will also be sending out the link as soon as it's live on our YouTube page. Again, thank you all for coming, and we hope to see you next month. Goodbye.